to another edition of the Business Plain and Simple podcast presented by the Regroup Advisors. I'm your host, Tiffany Stone, and it's our goal with this and all of our podcasts to guide prospective and current business owners on their journey to prosperity. We'll show you what to do and what not to do in this ever-changing environment. And I am thrilled to be joined today by the one and the only Mike Koszubski. Welcome, Mike. You know, it is always good to see you. The Regroup Advisors have helped so many people in 2024 and the previous years. So I am glad that we get a chat at the end of the year and talk about some of the biggest challenges, what we're looking for 2025, and of course, meet all of these great guests. So Mike, how are you doing?
Doing well, Tiffany. Thanks. And as always, I can't believe you do that intake without like a flub. So one of these days, hopefully we'll do a blooper reel on you, but someday. So with that, it's great. We got a number of different guests today from a bunch of different sectors and businesses. And we thought it would be important to hear their perspective on what the challenges were. And instead of us talking about them, letting them actually explain it. So other business owners and other executives that are out there, I'm sure share in the same pains that everybody on here has gone through. And I think, we'll have some lively discussion and some good input. So looking forward to hearing everybody chime in on what your challenges were and then talking about 2025.
You are absolutely correct. So let's kind of get this started. You guys have presented a great panel. There are 6 wonderful owners and people who work in business. And I love being able to chat with everybody because everybody has a different perspective. We always talk about what our challenges are. And we sometimes think as business owners or people who work in business, hey, I'm not going through this. But yet, here we all are talking about probably the same type of, frustrations and struggles that we have throughout the year. So let's talk to our first guest, who will be Megan Hubbs. Megan, thank you so much for joining us this morning and this afternoon, or whenever you guys are listening to this. This is morning for most of us, but Megan, when we talk about 2024 and some of the challenges, you being at the Velocity Small Business Hub grant program, it's a little bit different. You do have some struggles that are different from the normal business owner because you're helping the small business owners. So what did you find challenging for 24?
Hi, yes, thank you so much for having me. And it's exciting to be here with so many familiar faces. We at Velocity, historically as a smart zone through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation have worked with manufacturing, tech, and defense company manufacturers. And with this new Small Business Support Hubs grant, we have been able to work with small business owners from all sectors and all sizes. And it's been really exciting to do that work. A challenge for us has been getting the word out in the community in Macomb County that we are now positioned to support those small businesses. So that's been an exciting challenge. And what we're seeing is that there's a lot of energy behind getting connected to the support that we can offer now. Part of that support is small business coaching. And we've, through the programming that we've offered, we've sort of organically attracted early stage businesses. So my perspective is from what I'm hearing from most of those really early ideation stage businesses. And I'm excited to see that others here have a further developed business that we can hear from their perspective as well. But what I've been hearing as a challenge is sort of the ability to narrow your focus around what your business is doing so that you can really identify your audience and communicate what you're doing well. And then the secondary piece associated with that is being able to pitch yourself. So those two go hand in hand, like identifying what lane you're in and then being able to talk about it very clearly and quickly to people so that you can get funding, get backing, and get out there making sales. So that's sort of where I'm hearing things at this stage. And our hope, well, I'll talk more about 2025 in the next section.
Well, Megan, you're absolutely correct. Whenever we think about businesses, even yourself, whenever you try to present yourself to somebody, you're like, how do I do this? What are they thinking? Am I clear on what my message is going to be? And I feel like that's something that a lot of people deal with in the beginning. What is my business? What is the idea behind it? What is the philosophy behind it? And then how do I portray that to somebody? So you're absolutely correct. I mean, that's a lot of different things. I even go through that. I said, who is Tiffany Stone? Not necessarily a business, but who am I? And how do I portray what I would like to from somebody else or work with a different company? So Megan, thank you so much. That's awesome. I feel a bunch of people do go through that. So thank you so much. And moving over to John Meredith. Now, John, you are the owner of Champagne Chocolates, and I'm assuming that you do have to have some. I don't know how you could have any troubles because I love chocolate. Everybody loves chocolate. But what are some of these struggles that you had to deal with as a business owner and professionally and personally as well?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, Tiffany. And it is hard to find things wrong in a chocolate store. Unfortunately, there are plenty of things that we can find. And I'd like to concentrate on administrative things that we find and increasing our gross profit. I think as small business owners, we're all looking for a way of how do we make more money without increasing prices, without increasing sales. And we really had a challenge this year with our POS systems. So I would challenge any small business owner out there, not only with their POS systems, but with their administrative stuff, to look at it every quarter to make sure that their utilities, that their POS systems, that they're getting the best advantage that they can ultimately get. Us being a small retailer where we do both a lot of credit card sales and cash sales, we have to be very careful with our POS systems that link to our manufacturing, because we want to have a great source of data that we can look at for planning in the future. But yet we don't want to spend, for example, we found in June of this year, we switched POS systems. Our old POS system was costing us $25,000 more than this new POS system a year. Those kinds of fines, and the POS system that we have actually is better than the old POS system for our manufacturing and inventory. So one of the biggest hurdles that we had in 24 that we sort of forget about is looking at our bottom lines and our administrative accounts and making sure that we're getting the best dollar value for the services that we're receiving and paying out. $25,000 for us as a small business is a huge lump sum moving into 2025 that allows us to put it in growing instead of paying a bank or a merchant service company for fees that we didn't have to. So one of the biggest, again, challenges in 2024 is not just the business side of it, of course, business plans and reaching targets, but really staying on top of our expenses so that we could increase gross profit without worrying and delivering that increase to our customers. So that's what we saw in 2024.
Well, and going a little bit further, John, when you find those numbers and you realize how much it is going over, and like you said, being a small business owner, how did it really affect, or how do you make those decisions like, hey, this is something that we do need to do?
You go with your other business partners, or if you're by yourself, and go, I don't have enough time in the day, but I have time to save myself money. And find yourself time. As a business owner or previous in my other careers, time management of the day is the most crucial. And do this for yourself. Have a time management, at least 30 minutes that you look until you're done with it. Or if you can sit and take the whole time to look at your portfolio, it will make you smile. It will increase your profitability in your business. And you can switch, for example, insurance companies. You can switch, internet providers. And if you get that, it's the old saying is, the harder you work, the more money you'll make and save. And that's another key of this is, the more time you put in, these are just as important as servicing your customers or your other accounts. You're actually making more by taking time to do this and saving yourself on the providers that just are letting it lapse. It could even be a bank account that you have exorbitant amount of fees just because you've been in there for a year and you just overlook something. So those portfolios that you're doing can astronomically change your gross profit from year to year. And, even $10,000, $1,000 for a small business owner is a huge amount of money to save.
That is
Hey, I'm
true.
thinking, Tiff, Hey,
Yeah.
Tiffany, I'm thinking, hey, as from the private equity side, John needs to throw some copyrights on those sayings. So
Yeah.
we got a couple new revenue increases there, buddy.
Well, and you guys are absolutely correct. I mean, we live in a world of options now. There's an option for everything. There's multiple things that you can go into. You know, I work in motorsports and off-road racing, and what we say is, you know, in order to finish first you must finish. And so like you're never going to get anywhere if you do that. And sometimes in order to go faster, you do have to go slower because you're going to hit a turn, and if you're going too fast, you're going to roll, but if you go just slow enough, you'll be able to get around there. So it's really cool to see how all of this goes through. John, thank you so much for all of that. You are absolutely correct. And Mike, you're just always thinking here. You are just always thinking about the next thing of what you could do. I love that. So thank you guys. Okay, we are going to move on to our next guest, Mike Trago. Mike, I've had a chance to talk to you. Tell us about the company that you have and some of the challenges.
Sure. We're a designer, engineer, and manufacturer of architectural glass. We developed a print-to-glass technology that we're basically producing imagery on glass and using it in interiors for backsplash, shower walls, fireplace surrounds. And our biggest challenge is when we started the business, it was a direct retail business. We were really looking for voice of customer and getting all of our certifications, knowing that we're creating a product that's valid and it's not going to fall apart 10 years from now, that type of stuff. And so as we move to distribution and looking for distribution channels, there are so many that we can go down. So it's hard to stay focused on without going out and just doing everything from direct e-commerce to in this case here. We've been strong in the backsplash showers residential market, and we've been going out and surveying as well as obtaining dealers in the industry. So like kitchen bath design locations, places that people would go to look for, like tile shops, that type of place. And we've gotten recently have developed a new distribution channel, and that's into the fireplace market. But as we're in there, the challenge is the messaging. Having when a consumer walks into that dealer, do they even understand what they're looking at? Because our product's amazing. It has a high visual impact, and it also has a lot of benefits. Being number one, there's no grout, so there's a huge demand for less grout in places like kitchens and bathrooms for sure. So we're working on that messaging, and also looking for components to be able to relay that in the store, where we're not relying on salespeople to know everything we know, which we have no problem. If we get our hands on somebody, we can sell something. It's that easy. So, but how does that translate when you're not there? So that's been our biggest 2024, let's say, hurdle. Would probably be a good way to say it.
No, Mike, I really enjoyed that. Last time we had a chance to talk, I thought that was super innovative to be able to have these designs. People could have these photos, and you had even mentioned, family portraits, and some people are trying to move that, and it's just really cool. And like you said, it's just people want certain things, and so now you're trying to go over those hurdles of less grout in the kitchen, less grout in the bathroom as well. And I think moving forward, it's such a great idea, but being able to get that message across, I could totally see how that could be that hurdle for you.
Yeah, you're dealing with like a new product category,
Yeah.
right? So it's being able to convey the message is it's unique for me. Trying
No.
to make that happen. So, but I'm
Well,
getting a lot of help from a lot of good people. So we're excited.
that is awesome. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much, Mike, for just letting us know that. It seems within the last few guests, we always talk about messaging and branding and understanding and bringing forth new product that people weren't necessarily aware of. And you're like, hey, this is the message. This is what I'm trying to do. So thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. And we're going to move on to our next guest, Melissa Zuga. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. It is so good to chat with you again. So I had a chance to talk to you earlier. So tell us some of your challenges with the two companies that you have to do.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this as a perspective of, so I have a 20-year background in business insurance and employee benefits. And then I'm also a co-owner of an electrical contracting company. So I'm on one side trying to help solve issues for my clients and business owners. And then as a business owner myself, right, trying to remedy the stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis. On the insurance side, I would say it's all inflationary issues. So rising costs on both sides, right? On the commercial side, you're seeing employment liability insurance going up, auto insurance going up due to natural disasters, obviously auto insurance wrecks and things like that. So kind of trying to be creative and helping my clients with cost savings, because insurance is not the only thing that they're dealing with rising costs on. And then on the employee benefit side, it's the same thing. It's all inflationary. So rising costs of benefits. I tend to deal with small business and middle market accounts. And with that, they're trying to have a competitive employee benefit package, right, for attracting and retaining good talent. And when the prices are constantly going up, we have to find creative ways to make them different and make them stand out and make that package still as valuable as they want it to be. So I'm hopeful that 2025 is going to bring a little bit better of an outlook financially all around. And the business owner side of things, I would say it kind of it dovetails right into the next. Attracting and retaining good talent has been our biggest challenge this year. We have been blessed enough to be able to get work in the doors, but trying to get the guys to be able to fulfill those jobs has been really, really tough. And so, looking at different creative ways of trying to hire. What can we do to be different, to want to, people to come and work for us, things like that. So I would say, the talent attraction has been an issue for the last several years. I'm seeing it on, my other clients and things like that, and continues to be one for us as well.
You're absolutely correct, Melissa. It just seems like moving forward and with the use of social media and other people being able to have that and be able to create their own brands and want to work for that, it is really challenging to be able to keep people have that. And then I feel like with you, not only are you trying to do this for other businesses, but implement everything that you learn and what you know into your business as well. So that is, for me, even a challenge, because it's just like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but now how do I implement it into my own? So thank you so much, Melissa. I truly agree with all of that you said. It's just being able to retain that, we kept hearing the word in 2024, inflation. And with that being said, so many people are trying to figure out, how do I keep something, make sure that the benefits are there, and also you have a great working environment for everybody that's there for you. So thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to Brian Falther. Now, Brian, thank you so much. It is cool to chat. Now that we've listened to 4 people, you're the 5th one on our panel. Do you feel that you are having some of the same challenges that you hear from the rest of our guests?
I think we're in a little bit different position with Basque. We, over the course of 2024, I would say predominantly have had challenges in the form of executional mode, of transposing from the ideation of the business idea to bringing it to life into the physical form. And so we're an early stage startup, and we're building out our first pilot facility. We're building out a consumer brand product line. We're developing our brand. We're figuring out what our marketing niche is going to be, how we're targeting customers, and transitioning really into getting up and going to the starting line. So we're kind of like pre-starting line and sort of figuring out on how to get started here in 2025.
Well, and going a little bit further, like you said, the pre-starting line, I guess what is the biggest one out of getting to where you need to go that some other new small business owners may encounter as well?
Absolutely. So I think like one of the areas that we focused a lot around this year was on how we capitalize the venture and thinking through what's the mix of capital that we want to apply. Is it debt? Is it equity? Is it venture? Is it angel investments? Is it lines of credit? Exploring SBA loans? Every mode of figuring out how do we get money to get this thing up and going is something that I've spent a lot of time figuring out a good mix that's worked for us to get the build out completed and get into operating and get that revenue going.
Well, Brian, thank you so much. I mean, you just said probably 7 different ways that you could be able to get that up and starting. And so for somebody starting out, hearing all these words and these terminology, they'd be, sometimes lost. So it is really cool to see that not only are you doing it, but you're going further with it, getting to that starting line, which gives hopes to other people who are in small businesses, the knowledge, or at least like just feeling a little bit better that, hey, I'm not alone in this. There are so many options, and now I can be able to figure those out. So thank you so much, Brian.
Absolutely.
All right. And our last guest on the panel is David Lavender. Now, David, you're the co-owner of Clementine's Pastries. Talk to me a little bit about your challenges for 2024.
Sure. First, I would like to give credit to my wife, Melissa, who is the owner, operator, and pastry chef of Clementine's Pastries. I'm here on our behalf, representing Clementine's Pastries. I'd like to start out by saying the idea and dream of Clementine's Pastries came from Melissa. Her goal, and as we wrote the business plan, was to create a destination pastry shop. And we have done that and will continue to focus on strengthening Clementine's Pastries as a destination pastry shop. December 16th is our 3-year anniversary, so we'll be celebrating that this weekend. Our slogan is small batch, baked fresh. And one of our core values is quality. Quality of products, quality of customer service, and providing an experience for all of our customers. In 2024, we struggled with 2 things that stand out to me. One is just the cost of goods. Someone referenced earlier inflation issues. You hear it often, you see it in the media, social media. Just when people go to the grocery store and what they can purchase for a certain amount of money is far less than what people or businesses have been able to do in the past. Well, when you're a pastry shop and your whole product line, mostly because we do have retail, is food, food costs have just been very high. So like John mentioned earlier, analyzing your data, looking at the costs from your vendors or providers, and doing the work to research where you can cut those costs without having to raise prices or to maximize your profits is the work that really Melissa does. And she really executed that data analysis over the past year to help us to save money when it comes to purchasing products to then make our own products. So just that inflationary food costs was really a struggle. The second thing I would like to point out, and this goes back to something that Megan said, narrow your focus. Last year we opened a second business, and within a year we closed it just because of the strain and struggle financially that it was to keep it in business. The idea was great, place was beautiful, quality of products was wonderful, customer service was great. Sometimes it's just not the right time. And we truly believe that it just wasn't the right time or the need for our community. So early on, when we were developing the idea of Clementine's, we were seeking mentorship from various business owners or successful business people. And one of the bits of advice that we heard from people who we respected was to stay in your lane. And that is a lesson that we learned in 2024. And in life, you continue to learn lessons until you change your behavior. So moving forward, we're going to continue to remind ourselves our purpose and passion surrounding clementines, and to stay in our lane.
Well, David, it is good to hear the trials and tribulations that you had for 2024. I know being able to do that. And what I feel like I've heard from, the 6 panelists that we've chatted with today, Mike, you could let me know about this too, is there's a few key words that we keep hearing. We keep hearing focus. We keep hearing branding, messaging, inflation. And then also, I guess the last one is just perseverance. I know many didn't say the word perseverance, but it just seems like no matter what you do, you just have to persevere and have that perseverance on and just keep continually believe in yourself. Like David said, maybe that's not what we needed. Maybe that's not what did. Stay in our lane, have the focus, kind of do all of that and just keep on going. So Mike, do you have any last words for, our great panel of guests? We had such great insight, because we're not alone in this. Everybody thinks that no matter if you're in a large business, a small business, you're just starting out, like Brian said, just getting to the starting line, but we're all in this together. We all have the same type of, ups and downs and challenges that we've talked about for 2024. Mike, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I think one common thing, Tiffany, and we see this more from our lens, right, as buyer and seller of businesses, that the successful business owners have a network of people that they can rely on to help them answer these questions or to help them get to a solution or talk through something. Almost all of them have mentioned, it's tough being a business owner, and people forget that. I mean, a lot of people have friends that work for companies and their paycheck shows up every other Friday, and it doesn't matter what's going on behind the scenes. But everybody on this panel and many people that we've talked to over the years, there is a reality of, how do I make payroll on Friday when my client hasn't paid me yet and they keep telling me it's coming, and what do I do? That sleepless night alone tells people, I don't know if I really want to give up a paycheck, right? And so everybody on this call and others that we've talked to over the years, that's the appreciation of really the foundation of business owners slugging it through every single day. But you can't do it alone. And I think what you're hearing is everybody saying, hey, we struggled, but we reevaluate. We struggled and we looked at this. If you don't have that, I always say Rolodex because I'm old, right? But contact list or whatever anyone wants to call it. If you don't have that, or you don't have the resources or places to go, like, Velocity, like Megan, is representing, it's a very lonely existence to try to navigate through. And 2024 was a very challenging year. It got more challenging as the year went on. And funding started getting tight. I mean, we pulled back on deals waiting to see how the end of the year took place. And so, I think, for those watching this and seeing people on here, if you're not an owner and you are actually employed someplace, look at everybody on here and give them a thumbs up, and then ask them how they became so crazy and wanted to go do it on their own, right? Because that's I really think, that's what you kind of hear. Everybody kind of, has the common things, but I think everybody on here deserves that thumbs up for, slugging it through and getting through 2024, and we'll start talking about 25 here in a minute. So
awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And thanks again for joining us today and providing such great information, everybody. It was truly knowledgeable. I love all about that. I really enjoy listening because as a host as well, I also learned. So thank you guys so much. And that's going to do it for another edition of the Business Plain and Simple podcast presented by the Regroup Advisors. Thank you guys so much for listening, and make sure to follow our podcast wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a future episode. And you'll be notified as soon as they are released released. But if you want to catch up on a past episode, all you have to do is just go to the podcast feed and you'll be able to see it right there. And if you guys are interested in business advice and services offered by the Regroup Advisors, you can contact them at 888-248-7077.